Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I wanted to do another kind of story time. I wanted to do kind of another story time type video, and I will do my best to not make it super long-winded, but I just felt based on the time of year it is, and the holidays and New Year's is coming, and whether you do New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing at all, whatever. But I think we're all kind of still in that mindset of just reflection even, or what we want to change potentially for the next year going forward. I was thinking about telling this about a month ago, and when I kind of did my postpartum story, which I'll link below, because it kind of ties in a little bit with things that I've said in that as well. But I also wanted to wait a little bit because with the whole Vlogmas thing going on, you've been able to get to know me a little bit more, other than edited versions really. And Nate too, my husband. And if all the Vlogmas things are up and I'm still doing it, but you've gotten to know him, and for the most part it seems like all of you guys really like him too, and you enjoy us together. We have fun. That's what our goal is in life. And but yeah, so with that though, that's why I ended up waiting a little bit, but I'm gonna do it now. Nate and I got married when I was 19 and he was 20, and we're now 30. And we just had our 10-year anniversary in September. Crazy. And we grew up together, and I say that because we didn't get together as young children or know each other even then, but we became young adults together, and that came with a lot of its own things of hardships and learning. And getting married at that age, is it really something to recommend to people? Probably not. And because I feel like we went through a lot of stuff that like people at that age shouldn't necessarily have to go through, but at the end of the day it's also part of our process of where we are now, and we are very good. Anyway, but just to give you kind of background of where I'm coming from, of how long we've been together as a team, and we have a child. And yeah, so with that, when we got married, he worked for a company in retail and started as a seasonal employee and really worked his way up. And he really liked his job and loved what he was doing. It was perfect for him, and it was good. It was really good. He went from seasonal to full-time, or part-time to full-time, to supervisor to manager. And that was his goal, and it's always been that way for him. Like he's one of those kind of mentalities that like he wants to get to the top, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all, because I think when you invest your time into something, give it your all, and whether you get there or not, you're striving for something, and you're enjoying what you're doing. So with that, some people say you don't need to think that way, and it's like, I don't think it's all bad. I really don't. Like I said, I think I said, he was with that job for almost 10 years. 10 years. And the last 3 to 4 were as a manager. That job was, when even as a supervisor, it was a lot. It was. But when he became a manager, it was a whole other level of time and stress and disconnect personally for us. He got promoted as a manager when I was 7 months pregnant, and our son is 5 now. So this is going back a little bit. You'll notice probably when I do tell stories, I wait a long time before I talk about them because I don't want it to be fresh. Because I think sometimes when that happens, I'm not saying I don't talk about them at all, but to try to make a point about something, I want time to pass so that I can really reflect on it and really take what may have changed since and all that and then tell you the story, you know? So that's why you'll see this theme with me. Yeah, so in theory, his promotion came at a great time because you're starting a family, expanding a family, and that's great, a raise. And it became where it was really important to him that I stay home, and not like, oh, I can't work and this is what it must be. Not at all. It was just something that we both wanted too, as that option. And whether that changed or not, we wanted to have that option financially to not have to. So that's where that comes from. But so when he got promoted, that became possible. Yeah. And that kind of ties into my postpartum story a little bit. And he doesn't like to talk about that a lot, in all honesty, even now. But we're good. We are totally good, and we can talk about it. And, he was gone a lot. A lot. I don't want to throw the term around like military wife, because at the end of the day, I have no idea what that's like, and I do not want to be offensive to someone that truly lives that at all. So don't take that wrong. But I do think at the time especially, I felt very much that that's kind of the life I was living, but I didn't even have I wasn't married to someone in the military that had that reason, like, I'm like, we didn't sign up for that. If you were doing that job, then, that's one thing, but you're in a retail job, not knocking it. But I just did not expect you to be gone minimum 11, 12, 13 hours a day. Yeah, he came home every night technically. So again, that is why it's very different. I'm just saying where I felt at that time. Like, it was just, in my mind, I didn't sign up for this, and in his mind, it was, I am doing what we wanted so that you could be home, and, I'm providing, and he's providing. In his mind, that was his true job of providing financially. That is not to say when he was home that he did not do things to help out with the baby, and not at all, because he really, really did. He really did. But it was still very limited because he just was not here a lot. And in reality and in retail, holidays especially, which is to be expected, of course, but it was even worse. There were times where he technically came home, but he pretty much should have just slept in his car to get ready in 2 hours to be back. That's no life. Like, that's not worth the money, especially as a new dad and, a new mom for me, like, just trying to learn that too. It was a lot. And him and I became very disconnected, very angry with each other for like not understanding each other at all. He did not understand where I was coming from, although I was kind of batshit crazy in my own right of just going through my own issues at the time too. And I can look back on that now and know that it was not just his job, but it was a big part. And he was so, I mean, I hate to use that word, but he was so brainwashed and so anything he was fed by the higher ups even were of, he bought into it, of like that he was so needed, and he needed to be there that much because this is how it runs and you're doing it so great. And I get it. You get your pat on the back. You want to do better. You want to even do more and not let someone down. I get it. The problem is that he was only doing that at his job. That's it. And here it was like this took a back seat. Home took a back seat. And he comes from such a good place because he's, again, wanting to do this for financial reasons. Anyway, just to kind of give you a little background to it. And again, it never got better at all. We didn't get better. In fact, we got worse. And it was bad. I mean, it was to a point where we lived under the same roof because we had to, because of money, because I didn't work. And, we have a mortgage. We had things here that, financially, had to go on. Life goes on, right? And bills go on. And it just, but it came to a point where we were not even in the same room, like living in the same room. All his clothes, all his things were in the spare room, and he slept in the spare room. And, here you have an under-a-year-old child, and, they don't necessarily get it as far as they don't understand that part, but yet obviously that affected the way we were and around our kid. Whether you want to admit it or not, it does. And yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And no one knew that at all. And that's not good at all. So that went on. That went on for a while. Things, did eventually, I don't even want to use the word better, got better. That it's one thing. We never, as bad as things got, it's like we still never, as much as you throw that term of like, I'm not doing this anymore, and divorce and all that, like, deep down, deep down, we never lost love for each other at all, and trust. Like, it was just, as much as you might feel betrayed because you felt like you were chosen second best to something, I knew that was not the case. It was what he was being fed elsewhere, and it wasn't to discount me. We never gave up entirely. It was just, we didn't like each other. And that was, at the time, what we thought was our only option. And that's what we wrote out. And that's what we did for a while. And eventually, we got better, because that's what you do. And we really did. We really did. But at the end of the day, the solution was still not... the solution was still the problem. He still had this job that required what it did, and it was that. So even though we got to a better place, that was still the main issue. And what happened eventually? What happened? He got let go. Yep. He got a company reorganization, and his position was eliminated all over the world, and multiple people, lots of people, lots. And I won't ever forget it. And here's where the story, again, I want to give you background to what our life was at the time a little bit, I could go on for a very long time, but you get it. But here's where the story changes once again to the beauty of it all is I will never forget. He called me midday when he got called in and told this that his services were no longer needed, essentially. Where, keep in mind, he was been praised for the last almost 10 years of how great and how needed he is and how much this place runs because of you. Okay. And he called, I think, scared shitless to tell me. And, you know, what are we going to do? And he told me, he was like, so they came in and people were let go. And I'm like, yeah. I was so black and white about it. I totally remember. And he said, and I was one of them. And I went, okay. And he was coming home. He was calling me on his way home. And he did not get let go that day. And that's kind of its own thing too. Like, he actually had to be there still for another month. But here's your termination date technically. But come back and help us out for this month still. But I remember just being like, okay. And I was so happy. I was not scared at all of what that was going to look like as far as the future. And I don't have a job and your job's ending. What the hell are we going to do? Not at all. I was so happy and so relieved. So much so. And he got home and he just kind of broke down. And I was so like, it's all good. And he just couldn't really, I don't think he expected that from me. As much as he knew his job was a lot of our problems, and maybe he even felt like, oh God, here she's going to say, I told you so. Because my whole thing too over the years was like, you're replaceable. Don't get it twisted. Like, everyone is replaceable. No one is really God's gift to any job at all. So I'm sure in his mind, he really felt, I'm going to rip him up now and say, I told you so. And I really didn't. I mean, later. Yeah, it was, I remember that was such a like light bulb, what do they call it? Like those moments, those Oprah moments, what do they call them? Life moments? I don't know. Where the fact that my reaction was that is so telling. And I was just so relieved, guys, so relieved. And I knew it was going to be good. I knew no matter what, whether it's me go getting a job or whatever. But you know, that really didn't cross my mind too much of like, that's what it was going to be now. Not at all. But if it was, that's fine, you know. And I think in his mind, he just really felt that, you know, he couldn't find something that paid the same, you know, right off the bat, this and that. And, you know, he didn't go to college because he, out of high school, started as, again, a seasonal at this job and worked his way up. And he chose that over school. And I always supported that because in my personal opinion, I feel that, you know, school is great. I got a degree, I did, and I don't regret it, and I'm glad I have it. But I just really am a firm believer that if there is something you want or there's something that you really are into, give it your all, put your all into it, because it's your passion, not because of a paycheck. Okay? So don't, you know, yeah. But he was scared. He was. He didn't know. He didn't know what was going to be the future at all. And I didn't either. I didn't know, well, then now this is going to happen and you're going to do this. And no, I didn't know. But I didn't care because I knew it could be, I just knew it would be better. No matter what, it was going to be better for everyone, including him. The beautiful part, too, about the job he had had for almost 10 years was the connections he made with so many people. And so many people came out of the woodwork a little bit that he had met over the years, whether it was customers or ex-employees that were willing to help immediately and offer, go here, go do this, this job's doing this and whatever. And it turned out, as fate would have it, I worked for a phone company before I got pregnant and left that because of that when I had our son, and he ended up there. It was the weirdest thing, and one of his references was my old boss. It was just kind of like, see, don't burn your bridges, you never know. Who would have thought? He was technically in a different realm of it, but still. And he did that for a while, did that for about 6 months, and he was fine, but it just was hard on him because he was back to a full-time employee when he came on now, because he took the job, and I was like, look, you're taking it, but you still have options, you still have things you can still keep looking for other things and work your way up there too, whatever, and it's okay. And it worked though. It did. And it was enough money. It was tighter, but it was enough. With that said, when he did get let go, there was severance, and that helped a lot too, just for peace of mind. I get it. Money, people like to say money's not everything, and it's not. That is the point. It's not, but it is a factor. It is. Yeah, so he did that for a while, but I knew he just wasn't happy because he truly loves being a manager. And I feel it's like a rare breed. Not to say that people can't be a manager, but I think it just is a certain type of person that wants to be and thrives on it. And yeah, that's him. That's him. Then turned out, again, one of his managers back at the job he was let go from left too when that happened, and went to the job that Nate has now, and basically got his foot in the door too later. And he is now where he is at, and he is basically essentially making what he made before at the other job of 10 years. And he didn't have to work his way up because of his experience for 10 years. And hence the point too of just because you didn't have this college degree, you did put in your time somewhere. And that's what's paying off. You're not having to work from the bottom necessarily again, And he was not let go due to bad things, It was just, this is what happens, and this is what could happen again. That's life. It's a joke now that in the job he had before was, oh God, I wish I had banker hours, and that's what he does now, guys. Makes the same, pretty much, and has banker hours, and he has a set schedule, and he can have dinner with us every night. We can go places. That was another thing. Even when he had a day off, because I say a day, he worked 6 days a week before, he could not leave. He could not leave this house, this town. He could not leave this town because if they called and needed something or needed him to be there, he had to be there. That was the expectation. So we could not go on vacations. We could not go out of the town for the day, go to the coast, whatever. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And unless it was a true scheduled vacation, which was very far few in between. It really was. We are in such a better place because instead of feeling really sorry for yourself when that kind of thing happens, you go find something else and it's going to be better. And the point of all of this is, I know some people that have jobs that they love and hate, which we all kind of have that, right? There's always something that you don't like about something. But when it really takes over your personal life, truly takes over it, you really should reassess your situation And if it's not fulfilling you as a whole, and what I mean by that too is everyone in your life that's important to you, your family, just because you are getting the pat on the back at work, what are you coming home to? Is everyone happy at home? And if that's not the case, you need to relook at things. You really do. And know that there is something else out there. And you do not have to settle, and you do not have to stay just because of comfort, just because of money, whatever it is, or just because someone's telling you all these great things about you. You know, that will end. That will end. And then what do you have? And I know that Nate is extremely grateful even today that he still has his family, because he could have lost it, and he knows it. And it was close for a long time. And he sees things so differently now too about the situation he was really in. But you can't see it. And I get that too now too. For him, I get that he couldn't see it at the time like I thought he should, you know. There's a few points to this story. One, don't give up on your marriage, especially when it's stuff like that. Like, you gotta figure out what works best for your family, and you gotta you know, I always say you gotta create change to get change. And you know, for me, our vows are about committing to doing everything in your power to keep your word on that vow, you know, everything. And whether or not that looks the same for everyone, which it's not, I cannot picture my life without him at all, at all. And I know that he can't either. And without me, and without this lifestyle we live. And as hard as it all was, that was part of our journey. And where we are today is a lot of where, you know, that is because that happened, you know. And so there's good to it all. Other point is there are other jobs out there. And as soon as your job is not fulfilling you or your family, please look, at least just look. Because I feel like so many people too don't even look because they feel like there's nothing out there. There's nothing else. It's not going to be the same. It doesn't have the same benefits, this and that. But you just already shut it off before you even looked. Look. You'll feel so much better by just looking. Because then you don't live in this trapped feeling. And that's a shitty feeling. Like, you do not want to feel trapped. And that's what we were doing for so long. And it just, no. But we've learned so much from it going forward now that if that happened again, we wouldn't have to wait 10 years to figure out something needs to change and that there's other things at all. So it's, you know, yeah. With the new year coming, I just feel that if there are people out there that see this, that are struggling with their jobs or a situation that they're in, there is always something else out there. Always. And it may not make the same amount of money if that's what the problem is, but your happiness in life is going to be so worth it. And it's amazing what you can find out, what you can get by with or without, you know, that you didn't think you ever could. Well, I can't afford it. You'd be surprised. I feel like my thoughts were a little bit disorganized. I apologize. It's not fresh anymore. It's not, and which is good. but I feel like I can talk about it well and give you something out of it, of showing that it's really not the end all be all when you lose a job, when you are not happy in a job, when you're not happy in your marriage because of a job. There's just so many things that you can do, and you don't have to wait at all. At all. Yeah. Yeah. So, I hope this could be helpful for some people. I really do. If you have any questions, if I don't know, like if it didn't flow properly of like, well, what happened here or something, please, I would tell you, leave it down below for me. But I'll try. Yeah. New Year coming, holidays are here. Just know that if there's things you want to do, look into them at least. At least. Don't just think about it. Like, just look into what it might take. And you might be surprised what you find and what you do and what you're capable of doing. It's a cool feeling. It really is. It really is. Just to know you're not trapped and you are not under some corporate world determining your life. No, you're not. So, I will wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please subscribe if you have not already. I have lots of plans coming this next year. It's exciting. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I truly appreciate each and every one of your support. It's cool. It's very cool, and I'm glad I get to do it. So, yeah. Hope you guys have a great holiday, and I will see you very, very soon.